The We Need Diverse Books movement has been going on for some time now, and I think we're finally starting to see some change.
A bit of change.
That's why we were so happy to see Labyrinth Lost, a book based on Latin myths and legends rather than the usual European silliness we're used to.
Labyrinth Lost has witches and warlocks called by the Spanish words brujas and brujos.
All brujas are witches, but not all witches are brujas. That sort of thing. And brujas have their own way of doing things.
They have cantos instead of spells, they do elaborate rituals, they raise the dead, they keep altars, they even have their own pantheon.
Alex is a bruja whose power scares her. While her family has minor powers like healing and telepathy, she's been given the ultimate gift.
Alex is an enchantrix, which means she can use her powers to do just about anything. And there's only one enchantrix every few generations, so there are a lot of hopes pinned on her.
But Alex just wishes she was a normal girl, able to have friends and invite her best friend Rishi over to family gatherings. So she decides that on her death day, the day when her ancestors are supposed to come and bless her and then help her better control her powers, that she is going to wish her powers away instead.
The only thing is she has never done a spell before, and any little thing can mess up a spell. So it's no surprise when the shit goes down.
Except that it is not Alex who suffers for her mistakes, it's her entire family, including her dead relatives. Instead of calling up the gods and having them take her powers away, Alex ends up summoning the Devourer, who then kidnaps her entire family to consume them later.
Alex has to follow Nova, a boy she doesn't know and barely trusts, into Los Lagos, where danger lurks for the unwary, and she has to face down the Devourer to save her family.
The world of Los Lagos is fairly interesting. It doesn't feel like it's just our world with a few quirks thrown in. It's on its way to being its own place. There's a forest where it constantly sets itself on fire. There's bird women, blind giants, restless spirits. There's fairies that are not fairies, and a creepy ferryman. It also seems to have its own magical history and politics that happened before the story began.
We don't get a lot of backstory on the place. We only really get to explore what's necessary for Alex and Nova to travel through, but you get a sense that Los Lagos could be an extremely interesting place if it was given more time to develop.
Using the Latin myth also helps greatly. You see a lot of things that are similar to what you're used to reading about, but they differ slightly, so you want to know more about those things and the myths behind them.
As characters go, Alex is relatable. She has a strong and dangerous power that she has no idea what to do with or how to control and use. It's natural that she would be afraid.
But we don't get a clear idea of why she's afraid of her powers in the first place. It is mentioned that at one point her cat got possessed and she had to kill it with her powers, but her powers protected her. They didn't cause the cat to be possessed.
It's hard to get a grasp on why her fear became so strong, but Alex also blames her power on why her father walked out on her family, which does give a solid spin to her fears.
She is very clearly a young girl who is very afraid of the changes and responsibilities that comes with growing up. And that is always going to be relatable.
Her guide and sometimes friend Nova has an interesting backstory that I'd like to learn more about as well. He's a familyless brujo, which puts him at more of a disadvantage than it normally would. He's a survivor and he's not had an easy life.
He's another character that I enjoyed, but I would like to know more about. We do get a bit of his story, but it's not enough to satisfy us or make us feel like he's been really well developed.
But of all the characters who are underdeveloped, Rishi takes the cake.
All I know about her is that she's an Indian girl who is Alex's only friend, and she believes in Alex no matter what and also has feelings for her.
I mean, I like her so far, but I feel like I don't know her after, spending a large chunk of the book with her.
Which brings us to another nice tidbit about the book, the romance. Usually when you encounter romance love triangles, it's girl likes guy likes other girl, or it's guy likes girl likes other guy. When you find something different, it's like finding a unicorn.
Well, we do have a unicorn here. There are some Nova-Alex romance scenes going on, and she's clearly attracted to him, but she describes Rishi in such dazzling terms that there's no mistaking that this is a guy likes girl love triangle.
Woo! Diversity double down!
If I hadn't read it myself, I would have had a hard time believing it.
As for the plot, it's your pretty standard quest through a magical world with a villain who's an obvious foil for the main character.
The Devourer is particularly not compelling or interesting, and she doesn't really have a filled-out backstory either. She's just your average run-of-the-mill, power-hungry villain of the I want to become God variety. Neither here nor there.
Of the things you will remember about the story, the Devourer is not one of them.
But here's hoping that the actual gods do play more of a role in the later stories, as there will be sequels. It strongly suggests that the gods do exist, and I would love to see their interactions play out.
Writing style-wise, Córdova flirts with more flowery language, but it doesn't stick all the way through her novel in a way that seems natural.
Her descriptive, dreamlike language turns on and off, and not always at the right moments. Sometimes it seems to be there just to be there, while other times it fits right in with the mythical background.
It's not consistent, but still enjoyable. So, Labyrinth Lost. Zoraida Córdova did a very decent job of starting a series, and I want to read more because I liked what I saw.
It's just that some of what I saw needed to be fleshed out a bit more. With a basic plot, it needed more complex characters, or vice versa.
All the lore being set up and the hints that there are greater dangers out there are well received.
Labyrinth Lost reads like some books starting a series tend to do. It's a decent introduction to the world and the characters, and ultimately not the meat and bones of the series, but you're satisfied enough that you'll come back for more.
So if you're looking for something that breaks a few molds or really embraces the diverse book spirit, then pick up Labyrinth Lost and give it a read. You'll like it.